Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Changemakers. This is episode numero 10. That's right, episode number 10. And we've got a really great guest today. So I'm going to give you guys some time to make your way over. Once you get in here, go ahead and go in the comment box. Tell me where you guys are from, where you're joining us from. If you're excited, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit all the exciting stuff, and help us get this out here. Again, Changemakers is that show you can share without being worried about anybody getting concerned about your political views. Why? Because this show is about people creating change in the world. It is apolitical. It is all about positivity, and it's going to be the best 45 minutes of your day. If it's not, that means you had a fantastic day. Plain and simple. And you know what? That's good for you. But this will be the second best thing. In that case, we've got a really great guest. She's also known as the Weight Loss Hero. She's originally from Dallas, Texas, which is where I got to meet her as the host of the show, Anthony Russo, if you didn't already know. But she's fantastic, phenomenal interview, great human being, and she's creating change all over the world by just changing people's hearts. We're going to introduce her in just a second. Last call for people to start sharing this with your friends and network. Please, again, hit the like button, hit subscribe, all the fun stuff that we've got there. Becky, hello from Washington. Aurelia from Texas. Lisa from Connecticut. Robert always says good morning in the evening. I'm very confused at the jobs that he does. Sean from North Carolina. Hey, Anthony. That's my name, as you already know. Good to see you, Anthony. Sean and Nikki. All right, let's go to get the party started. It's time for Changemakers. Again, remember, share this out there once you get to the page. What's going on, everybody? It is Anthony Michael Russo from #BeTheChange. Thank you guys for joining us. And again, welcome to our 10th episode of Changemakers. This is always my favorite one of the week. We don't have to talk about politics. We don't have to talk about anything going on in the world except for people creating positivity, creating positive change, changing their own lives to change other people's lives, and hopefully inspiring you to do the same. Again, welcome to everybody out there. I see you, Marilyn, Laura from Michigan. Who else do you got? Billy Bob. I know that's not your name. We all know this. David Hackman and Shelly. Welcome. So we have got a phenomenal guest today. I'm super excited. Before I introduce her, I, of course, have to do the huge right here on Be The Change because, again, we are a self-funded network. So I'm just going to be very simple with you guys. #BeTheChange.com. If you would like to buy any of our merchandise, we've got sweatshirts, we've got hoodies, we've got the Unite Don't Fight stuff, we've got Be The Change gear. Just go to #BeTheChange.com, click it shop at the top of the page. We've got new hats as well that are really, really cool. They're Richardson based, which means they're like super high quality, super awesome hats. So make sure you check out the website. And of course, as we always mention, this is a self-funded network. Again, on the bottom, you can see we have a Patreon set up, patreon.com/BeTheChangeUSA. Next week, we will have another one of our private Patreon sessions where I do a little rant, do a little comedy, maybe bring Cash out if he actually decides to join me. We never know where he's going to be. I don't know. So we will do that again next week, but make sure you're a Patreon member so that you can be a part of those. I'm also going to be starting Motivational Mondays, where I do a 10-minute Zoom for everybody to jump on, get your week jacked up. That should be starting in the next week or 2 weeks. Again, that's only for Patreons. Again, that starts at $5. It's not that much. And it helps us out because, again, we're fully funded by you guys. So thank you for that. Now it's time to get the show started. I am very excited about this guest. She may not know this, but she was one of the first people I thought of to have on Changemakers, and she now knows it because she's backstage. However, somehow it took about 3 months for me to get her on the show because she is incredibly busy, lives in California now. She's big time. I don't know, but this is going to be a really, really cool show. And I know you guys are going to like it. If you've seen some of the previews of this, what we've tagged on the page, she is known as the Weight Loss Hero. Christine learned that the hard way includes no shortcuts. There is no shortcuts to weight loss. There are ways to make it simple, but it doesn't always work. You've got diets, quick fixes, weight loss surgery before you realize, and what she realized is that nothing will work except for you. You're the one that's got to put in the work. Determined not to fail again, Christine found a path to success in all areas of her life that started with one simple truth. Lasting transformation starts in the mind and burns through the body. We're going to let her describe all of her background because her story is fantastic. One of the favorite stories that I have ever heard, and I think it's serendipitous. It's fun. It's great. Ladies and gentlemen, weight loss hero, Christine Evans.
Hello.
How's it going, Christine?
It's going good. Finally, we get to meet. I've been very busy.
You're kind of a big deal, apparently. So now that you moved to LA.
I'm just doing wife life and mom life and LA life, and it's been a transition, but it's been incredible.
Yes. So you lived in the Texas area for a long time. When did you move out to LA?
I moved out to LA right before a couple of days before I got married in August. So I have been out here a few months.
Excellent. So you're known as the weight loss hero. Go ahead and let's start from scratch on your story, because I want everybody to know your story. At any given point, tell me when. I'll throw up some pictures of the before and after. Those are always great to see because it's amazing to see a transformation. But ultimately, it's what you've done with that transformation. It's not just about you, and that's the key behind it. So, how'd you become the weight loss hero, Christine?
Absolutely. Well, at one point about I guess it was six years ago. I was almost 300 pounds. And I just felt stuck. I felt like I had tried everything. In some weird ways, I kind of felt like I dieted my way to the top. And I know that sounds like a stretch, but hear me out. I would start a diet and it would be something extreme and not sustainable. And I would lose a quick 10 or 15 pounds. And then I'd fall off and gain back 20. I kind of felt like that cycle just repeated itself. And I got to a place where I was just like at my rock bottom moment. I had a family reunion. And I had an uncle I haven't seen in years, and he's my favorite uncle. And he'd only seen like Facebook pictures, but you can make yourself look real good in a Facebook frame. And so when he saw me in person, he was like walking my direction anyways when I walked in, and I went to say hi to him, and he like made eye contact with me and then just kept walking. And I was like, what was that? And I went up to him and I'm like, Uncle Bruce, what's up? And he looked at me and he's like, I'm sorry, and you are... He had no idea who I was because I'd literally eaten myself to an unrecognizable state. And look, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just knew I was never going to feel that way again. And so
What year was that?
That would have been early on in 2014.
Got it. Okay.
And so it's possible you're almost 100 pounds, 5 pounds. Feels really hard to lose. So, you're sitting there being like, even if I lost 100 pounds at this point, am I going to like how I look? It feels so overwhelming. So I decided to go the weight loss surgery route to start. And some people tune out when they hear that, but I want you to hear me out because I wanted to ease out. Okay. I wanted to pay some money and have a surgery and to be thin. That's just what I wanted. And they kept saying, this is only a tool and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to pay all this money and go through all this, like, it better be more than a tool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell me I have to do all the hard work and like work out and eat healthy. Like, I just want you to just do this and I'm just going to lose weight. Here's the problem with weight loss surgery is that so many people are out there posting their successes, but you don't see all the people posting their failures. Nobody's out there saying this didn't work for me. Most people it's like there's like a stigma that most people don't even tell their families they're doing it. So when they struggle after, they feel stuck. So anyway, I had weight loss surgery. I lost most of the weight that I lost during like the pre-op liquid diet, lost some weight after, and then this is the core of it, and I'll keep going, but no surgery fixes this. And the weight that you're carrying is usually a result of something going on here and something going on here. It's just a symptom. And so you can try to fix and manipulate whatever you want, but if you don't focus on the things that are actually driving the weight gain, you're just going to find new ways to repeat the same habits. And that's exactly it. So I found new ways to use food to cope with my feelings. And I started gaining that weight back. And that's when I felt like devastated, right? I mean, it's embarrassing. And I'm just like, I'm still struggling. And, I'm trying to act like it's all okay. And so that brought me to my second rock bottom moment, which is the only reason I can never say that I regret anything, is because it got me to where I am today. But ultimately, I haven't. And remembered that moment in the car after that family reunion of I will never feel this way again. And so I started trying to find a trainer, trying to find a gym, trying different diets. Like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work. And so I was lucky enough to, and honestly, God really just put me in an environment in which I had a really good support network. I had some good leadership. I had people that were pouring into me and really helping me. And it wasn't necessarily the specific diet I did or the specific workout that I did that was the magic pill. It's that I started realizing that nothing's going to work unless I do. And I've got to start facing this. And that's not fun. That's the worst part of it. You can lose weight really quick. And ultimately, and this is kind of part of the story that I don't tell as often, or you probably don't know, but I thought I wanted to lose weight. And so I lost all the weight, and I had a plastic surgery on, and I had a tummy tuck, and I had the dream body that I wanted. I had the high rise I wanted. I had the job that I wanted. I had the car that I wanted, but I was stuck chasing after things that were never going to fulfill me. And so that's where the real part of hard work starts to come in. Like, your body will actually lose weight pretty quickly, but to be able to sustain that for your life, that's a whole nother situation. And so when you get set on fire and you like realize something like that, like you're like, hey, like, I see why I failed so many times. I see why the things I was avoiding were contributing to my situation getting worse. Like, you want to tell everybody, right? Like, I'm like, okay, I know what to do. And so that's actually how I started my Instagram. I am the worst. I don't like the term influencer, but I get coined that, I suppose, because when you just, but,
when you have the 300,000 followers, you tend to get that phrase. It's super weird.
People throw you into that category. I hate videos. I hate taking photos. I hate I will never send a selfie to someone. Like, it's just not part of my language. So it's actually really hard for me, but I created it because I wanted to help create change. I wanted to help be a part of that, whatever that looked like. If it was just showing what kind of shoes I'm wearing or what kind of snacks I'm eating or what my workout was today, I just wanted to start sharing my life. And even though it was uncomfortable, that's just what I felt I was being called to do all those years ago.
So let's actually go from where, because again, you lost the weight, and now we've talked about how you've had the emotional changes, ups and downs, obviously, as well. I think, all right, now is going to be the time where I'm going to kind of show the before and after pictures. I'm going to show the first one I had up. So to see what Christine looked like before and after, and tell us about, and I remember you told me, and I don't remember now, the picture on the left, why you took that picture at that moment. Was that right after you saw your uncle?
Yes. So that would have been right after I saw my uncle. And I was just like, so it's so funny because I swore nobody would ever see this photo. Okay. I took it. I mean, look at my face. I am not excited about this at all. I also had an Android, so maybe that was part of the situation. Despite that, I took that picture because I was like, back then, like, there were before and after pictures, but I mean, they were like from Jenny Craig. Like, this was like the beginning of the internet. Okay. Like, nobody had Instagram. It was very rare that you find a lot of people that did. But I just felt like I'm going to do this. Like, the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to quit quitting. And I don't know how long it's going to take. And I don't know what I'm going to have to do. And I'm going to have to sell a kidney on the black market. I don't know. I'm going to find out how to lose weight and how to keep it off. And so I wanted to take those pictures. And so it's funny because this is a little side bit for you. So I actually have, like, literally in my photo album, all the original photos. And it's funny because so many times I would take 4 pictures and then I would not be successful. And then, like, 6 weeks later, I would take more before pictures. It's almost like a slideshow of me gaining weight.
Yeah.
6 months, which is, I can smile about now because I'm like, it's just part of my story. But that's why I have so many before pictures, because people ask me, I was like, how do you have that many before pictures? I'm like, I started a lot of times.
Right. That's crazy. So I'm going to do another one. I kept restarting. It happens. So here's another really good one to show the difference. And it's not just in your body. It's your face. Your face is completely different. And not from a weight perspective, but from just like joy and happiness. And that doesn't always mean you're happy in some of these photos because, you know, life happens and it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's insane. So now the interesting part of the story. How did you become the weight loss hero? How did that story go on? Because you're married right now, but you've been married before.
Yes. So I was previously married when I went through my weight loss.
Was he heavy, out of curiosity? Was he overweight in any way, shape, or form? Your first husband?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He was, and you know, it's one of those things that whenever you look up, in fact, when I went to have surgery, one of the things that they will tell you is that the divorce statistic is high. Like they're like, we want to warn you. And I, at no point was that didn't even concern me, but it's crazy because when you see people who truly transform in big ways, you see that a lot. And I don't say that to be discouraging. I say that because I think that people, if they took it more seriously from day one and really set out to kind of protect their marriage, knowing what against when there is great change, you move forward with that. And, you know, I was very young when I got married. I was super young. We met when I was 20, got married when I was 23, and we were married for a few years. And it was just one of those situations that we fell into the same kind of, pitfalls that people do. Yeah. I mean, they do. You know, I really started changing from the inside out, and it was like I didn't feel like I had the support. He didn't, at one point, he didn't want me to be successful. And so all of this time, like I've created this Instagram. So I was training at a gym. It's no longer in existence, but it's called the Hero Training Center. And what's funny about the Hero Training Center is that it was like one of those like bikini pro gyms where like most of the girls are like walking around posing in their swimsuits. And then I was like I was the overweight girl. Okay. I was here for the fat loss, not for like, you know, whatever. And so it was like a joke one day that I was the weight loss hero. And that was just kind of like, it just kind of stuck because I was like the girl. It's like the epitome of like every person who's overweight has a little bit of gym fear. Like if you don't, like, good for you, but I've never met anyone that doesn't. And so it's like the epitome of everything you fear. When you go in, it's like all fit people, all pretty bodies. And then you're like, I don't even know how to do a squat. And so I started documenting. I started taking really bad photos of my fridge or my food or whatever. And during that time, I made a commitment that I would never turn down an opportunity to share my story if I could, like obviously schedule permitting, but if I had the opportunity, I would. And so I, at the time, have maybe 1,000 followers, which that was a big deal back then.
Right.
And I got an email and they're like, can you tell your story? And they asked me about my divorce. And I don't even know who I'm talking to. It's like something called the Daily Mail. And I'm like, whatever that is. I had no idea how massive it was. And so what they did is media did what media does. And they took just a normal things just, didn't work out the way that I thought that they would story. And they like made it into this sensationalized story. Like I lost weight in secret and they called him my ex-boyfriend. He was irate and angry. And it was like the craziest thing. I read somewhere, it was like that story was shared like 200, like it was like 2 million times in like a week. It went totally viral. And I went from nothing to over 100,000 followers in about 48 hours. And the thing is like people like following clickbait stories like aren't like the nicest of people, I learned. Right. And so there was I don't even think Instagram had a DM box at that point, which was lovely. But they did and people like to voice their opinions. And so it took a lot of thick skin, I'll be honest, because it was just a lot of, gossip columns bring gossipers, so, but it was also the foundation for, my page is nothing, you've never found anything consistent with those stories on my page because they're not true. Right. And so luckily down the road, reputable companies like Shape Magazine and Fitness Magazine the Today Show online have posted the real story. Not it's a pretty sensational situation without having to sensationalize, in my opinion, but you know how media is.
Yeah. So that you were already going through the divorce, I believe, at the time, and it had to be kind of weird to like, hey, babe or ex-honey or friend, whatever. So there's going to be some stuff written that really, the way it looks, I swear to God, I didn't say it like that. Did he believe you when you said that to him?
Well, so I didn't even realize that this was where this was going to be posted at all. And so, no.
Well, I mean, once you saw it.
Yeah. No, that was definitely not a fun conversation. And of course, I had all of my communication, and I was able to show, like, hey, this is what was said, and it was very honest, and it was just very open, and it was just very kind and loving and wanting to help other people. And then this is how it went. But that was not a fun few weeks for sure.
So now you've got this following. You got 100,000 people that follow you. You already were on the path of trying to motivate people to do the same thing. You were at the time, were you getting your training license, or where did it go from there to start saying, all right? And you still had a full-time job, obviously, at the time.
I did.
So how did you start transitioning?
So I was in corporate America. I loved what I did. I was the director of a medical billing company. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. I loved what I did. But I also genuinely loved the people I communicate with every day. And I love trying to just motivate and just post stuff that's encouraging and like, you can do it. And so basically it was I came to a crossroad. The company that I worked for sold. Things weren't going well. I was kind of seeing the end of the runway, and I was going, I'm going to have to make a decision career-wise. And then I'm like, okay, I've got this following. At that time, it was closer to 200,000 people, just between the kind of the initial and then when I left my job in corporate America. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't know that I don't know if I know how to help people. I don't know, but like, let's just see. And so I started educating myself. I've actually was an entrepreneur back when I was 19, 20 years old. So I have that hustle and that drive. And I'm like, so let me educate myself. Let me get the certifications that I need. Let me surround myself with a team that can help me put things together and get what I need to do. And let's just try it. So I was like, you know what? I was really praying about this. And this was kind of like, honestly, one of the first times I heard from God very clearly that this is what I was supposed to do. And I was terrified and I was scared and I felt unqualified. And I mean, just being honest, at the time I was. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I've got a calling on my life. I got this map in my kitchen, which we'll talk about the map. And I was like, I have this big old heart, and I've got this passion that I'm supposed to try to help people make massive change in their lives. Now, I'm not a savior. I cannot help somebody change their heart, but I definitely think that there are steps and there are strategies and there is support and there's a network that you can have. And so I started really looking at my process. Like, obviously, I can show people how I eat, and I can show people what my diet looks like, and I can show people my workouts, and I can bring in any trainers that I need to really come in and make sure that those are done well and they're presented in the right way. But really, what was that heart piece? Like there is no certification for that. There is no college degree for that. What does it look like? And so I sat back and I thought, like, okay, leadership. I had somebody who was a leader to me, who was walking me through some of this, my own experiences. And then the more I talk to people, the more I realized I see so many of these same things over and over. The all or nothing mentality, the wait till Monday the mentality, the sabotage mentality. Like, I keep seeing the same thing. So I'm like, well, what did I do? Okay. So I started writing these things out. Like, how did I talk myself out of that? How do I do it today? And so then I'm like, how do I create some sort of a community? Because that's one of the things that I had. My little gym, which was a hole in the wall gym in the middle of Colleyville, Texas, I had a community of people who I felt had my back, and I felt understood me, and I felt they loved me. And so I'm like, okay, how do I create this on the internet? And so that's what I set out to create. The first thing I did, and this just came from, honestly, a Russell Brunson video. I'm sure you know who he is, with ClickFunnels. But it was like, I'm going to give this for free right now. I'm going to work with some family and some friends and neighbors. And I'm just going to start doing this for free. And I'm going to make tweaks to it. When I started my company, I had no capital. I had no knowledge of how to do anything. I had no website. I didn't even know how to convert a Word doc to a PDF. And I literally would email out Word docs. That was my whole company. I started from absolutely the ground up. But I'm like, look, I've got this calling on my life. God told me to do it, so I'm going to move. And so from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And so I love to learn how to do everything myself. So almost everything that has been built, from websites to email campaigns to all of that, I've actually learned how to build and have grown myself. So I officially left.
Christine, there's a lot of business coaches which would tell you that's a bad idea. You know that, right?
Correct. Actually,
yeah. Okay.
Well, I say that, but it actually gives you a really nice heartbeat of your company. There obviously always has to be a time, from the scalability perspective. You can't do everything, but when you actually know how everything is run and you're not at the mercy of just depending on everybody else, there's a lot to be said about that as well, in my opinion.
Very true.
So anyways, so I finally made the leap and I left corporate America and I never looked back. And it's been over 3.5 years now. And it's crazy because you and I were talking. So when I started, I had this map and it was like maybe this big. It wasn't a big map. And I decided, I talk about having a why behind anything that you do, and everybody talks about that now. So it's not even cool. But the thing is that your why also has to become your have to. It has to become your must. And I think that's the part that people miss, is that they're like, I have my reason for doing it, but it never becomes a non-negotiable for them. And so for me, my why every day is the people. It's so easy in business to focus on profit or to focus on the dollars and to not focus on the hearts. And so I'm like, I have to always bring myself out of the computer stuff, out of the reports, and focus on the people. And so I got this map, and every time somebody joins my program, I put a rhinestone on the map for wherever they live. And so it started with one person a day, maybe 2 people a day. And then it was like, whoa, we got someone in another country. I'm gonna need a new map. And it's been so amazing because in the about 3.5 years, it has grown to over 12,000 women in over 100 countries in the world that have all come together to support each other and to fight through this together.
Yeah, I remember your stories back when this started. You were wicked excited when you were like, "We've got somebody in Iowa! Woo!"
Our first one in Iowa, yeah.
You were one of the first people I know on the influencer level that's not like mega star that was very consistent with your stories. And I think that was a big deal. Like, once stories became a thing, you were one of the first people I knew that was on that like anything. Like, that was, and I know that's how you communicated with the people that were thinking about investing themselves in you and thinking about being a part of your tribe or whatever. And I think that was key, because a lot of times people go, do you want to go with me? No. We'll catch you later. See you later. But yours stayed constant. You always stayed on people's state of mind. And there was your communication skills, whether or not you had the talent of all these different online skills and tools, your talent was communication. If you were going out of town, you were like, I will see you guys in 2 days. Like, and these were people that weren't paying to be a part of your thing. You were staying in communication, which was awesome. So now you've grown. You're at 12,000 people. You're remarried. You're now in LA. What do you have any story? Do you have any stories out of the last 3 years of people that all these people you're changing their lives? And I remembered your cost wasn't much for that back then. And you have, it's minimal. You're literally just somebody's somewhat coach, but it's enough to where it pushes them through. And I know I've seen the photos that you posted. Is there any stories that you can think of that truly were ones that changed you internally just by hearing how you changed others?
Yeah, well, so I obviously get excited about weight loss. That's what we're here for, right? We're here for the weight loss. And when people lose weight, that's exciting. But when people lose other things that aren't meant for them, that's even more exciting. So as an example, when somebody comes in and they have really bad health issues and they are facing diagnoses and they are having to take a ton of prescription medications just to function, those are the stories that I hear every day. I could sit here and rattle off 1,000 of them, women who have been on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. And the thing is that it's not me. I'm just someone that gives some guidance, honestly. But it's stepping on this path and it's saying hey, I'm gonna fight for this, right? I'm gonna dig down deep. I'm gonna let go of the things I don't need. I'm gonna pick up the things that I do. And every single day showing up. So we have had, I mean, I don't even know how many, because we don't have like a tracking system or anything for how much weight people have lost. Like I can personally tell you of at least 100 women who've lost at least 100 pounds. One of my first clients is, I think, at 185 pounds lost. And it's been incredible. One of the things that we have built too here in the last 6 months is kind of like a Weight Loss Hero ambassador program. And so this is the idea of other people who are sharing their journey and want to kind of bring them in along for the ride. And so a lot of these women, including some of my actual employees, are some of the ones that have lost 100 and 150 pounds. And then now there's opportunities for them to spread and be changed as well. And obviously, you know, being the change always starts with you. It's always lead by example. So it's been, I'm trying to think of anything like this, like super, super unique. And of course, like when I get off of here, I'll think of 1,000 different stories. It's all day, every day of just women who have incredible stories that we share in the support group of things that have changed in massive, massive ways.
So what does it mean to be a part of the tribe? Like if somebody signs up and works with you, I know you said there's the ambassador side and all that, but say somebody's like, all right, I'm going to work with Christine. What does that look like?
So I have now an app. What? An app. It took forever. But so basically, you know, you're given an app, and then and there's obviously like a desktop version as well. And then in addition to that, we also have an online Facebook community. And I know Facebook's like, nobody even uses Facebook anymore, but a lot of people just use it for this because it's really special. So I do live streams in there every single week, and I come in, spend time with my ladies and answer questions and really try to just kind of provide that, just pour into them and give them some motivation and some encouragement to keep pushing through the hard days. I think that this year has been harder for most people than the last 5 years. I think that with the current situation, so many people have put on weight, and that's kind of normal. It's just kind of seen across the board. But with it, I mean, you know, there's diets and there's workouts and there's challenges that we do, and there's even other, you know, I have faith-based stuff in there if that's something that you want to participate in. There's just, it's very conclusive. I also have a mindset video series that has activities that you do with it. And so that kind of goes into, starts drilling in, like everybody tells me when they watch it, they're like, that's me on all the videos. Like I do that too. And I'm like, I'm telling you, there's so many of the same mindsets that we all deal with that kind of keep us like, here's where we are and here's where we want to be, and here's the stuff we got to sort out to get there.
So since you brought up COVID, so I had a couple people start asking some questions about what we'll start in the box. So we'll start with this. How do you incorporate what you do today with the COVID restrictions? Because I'm sure people are, it doesn't directly affect your business, but I'm sure people are going like, I can't make it to the gym. There isn't this, it's harder to get this kind of food, et cetera. So what has COVID done to change your business?
So, a lot of things have changed. Like, obviously, the gym in and of itself. Like, I hate working out at home. I hate it. And if you hate it too, like, I feel you. So this is a whole nother level of how to really ourselves and find ways to be creative. And so, like, that's one of the things, I've always had a home workout option for my program, but that's one of the things that we've really kind of pushed and we really dove into this year is that home side, because you just have to do it. And if you're watching this and you're just like, I don't even know what to do and I don't even know where to start, this is where I would start. I would start by possibly looking at workout bands. There's a lot you can do with workout bands in a door or a garage that you can hook them on. And seriously, find stuff on YouTube. Make an appointment with yourself. 15 minutes. Just start. 15 minutes, 5 days a week. You're just going to move your body somehow. What I will tell you is that there is such an incredible mind-body connection when it comes to mental health and exercise. And I'm not saying that exercise cures all ailments, but what I am saying is that it can help in a very positive way. And so that's something I think a lot of people are also struggling with right now, because we're not moving our bodies like we should. A lot of us aren't eating like we should. Then our mindset's kind of a wreck. We're not sleeping like we should. It's just, right? We're stuck in our houses. We're not moving around. And so trying to find ways to get creative with that, whether it's going on a couple of walks a day, just moving your body is just, I promise, if you just told yourself for the next 5 days, I'm going to listen to this Christine person I'm just meeting, and I'm going to move my body. You're going to come back and be like, I feel so much better. And I hate exercise, but I have to make myself do the same thing.
So another question that was here is, let's see, it was from Marilyn. At the beginning, what kind of mind talk did you give yourself to keep from being discouraged? So obviously, people are going to look at these photos and go, "Oh man, she must have just hit her stride. She was killing it. She was doing all these different things. She's, it must have been like 2 weeks." No. So the first 2 weeks, you're losing a little bit, but how did you stay in the game? And I think, do you talk about not having a scale or not using a scale?
No, because I weigh myself and I get frustrated all the time.
Okay.
The scale is ridiculous. I mean, I don't get it. And it's less ridiculous for men. I'm just saying, I'm sorry if you're a man out there frustrated with your scale, but every man I meet thinks about going on a diet and they're like, oh, the scale went down 2 pounds. And I'm like, I thought about a cookie earlier and it's going to go up. It's just like, I don't know. Keeping yourself from being discouraged. So one of the biggest things that I think is important is everybody feels like they need to depend on motivation to do something. And I am somebody who is probably more motivated than most people just in general in my life. And I'm only motivated about 20% of the time. I do not want to go to the gym. I didn't want to go today. When I was there, I wanted to leave. I mean, it's just like, I can't rely on that. And so the thing is that when I focus on where's my motivation, why don't I feel like doing this today, I'm not going to get anywhere. When instead I decide, what am I going to do despite how I feel? And every single day making it more about doing what I said I would do rather than about waiting for motivation to come. That's a huge thing. But I think too, when it comes to discouragement, is you have to focus on something besides the number on the scale. It's insane. Like, I have gone through periods where I'm training and I gain weight during training, right? And then later it comes off and it tapers down. But if you obsess over just that number and you don't look at the whole process, you're going to stay discouraged. When instead of saying, hey, I'm going to pick a plan, I'm going to stick to it, I'm going to do it every day, I'm going to focus on how am I feeling, how am I looking, how are my clothes feeling, how's my mindset. I'm going to focus on all that stuff, and I know the scale is going to follow along. That's where you really start to see a lot better changes.
And that's what we forget about is mindset isn't just from what you're looking like. When you're putting the right things in your body and you are doing even the minimal amount of workout to start, it changes your brain, changes the cortisol levels, changes the way you have an outlook at the world around you, and might even change the way you see yourself in the mirror. There's a lot of people that are 30, 40 pounds overweight, and they see themselves as somebody that's 100 pounds overweight. Right. But that just little bit of action can start to change, it can change everything. Let's see, a couple questions before. There was somebody that asked a question before you were on that wanted me to make sure I asked. In terms of skin, there's excess skin. So say there's somebody out there that wants to lose 150 pounds, 200 pounds. They're obviously going to deal with skin issues. And I remember you did some photo shoots back in the day where you're like, I'm celebrating my lines and all these different things. So what did you have to go through in terms of skin, of getting rid of excess skin?
So for me, I did have a tummy tuck. I had a breast augmentation. That's the only actual skin removal that I've had. It's really crazy how between good nutrition, supplementation, and exercise, how much that impacts your skin. I actually posted a picture not that long ago of just when I started the current routine I'm on, where I started training again. I hadn't been, just getting married and traveling and all that, I hadn't been training for months. So I started training again, and within 3 or 4 weeks, that skin starts popping right back up. Understand everybody's elasticity is different. And the thing is that when I started losing weight, I always just thought to myself, like, okay, I'm going to go through all this, I'm going to lose all this weight, and I'm still not going to like my body. I'm still going to have these marks. Even if I have plastic surgery, I'm going to be covered in scars. Like, what's the point? But that's where I had to realize that there's so much more to this than just the weight. And this is the day, and it sounds crazy, but I just became committed to loving my scars and to loving my marks no matter what. Like, these are just all part of something that tried to break me but didn't. And so for me, I mean, it sounds crazy. Like, I don't even notice them now. Like, I feel like if they were gone, it would be strange because I'm so used to them, and I'm not ashamed of them, and I'm not afraid to show them. So that's why I actually did it. I call it the Love Your Marks. And I actually had like all of my stretch marks like painted, because I'm just like, I'm not gonna hide them and get them edited out of photos and things like that. And so I only say that so many people think I can't afford surgery. I wouldn't want to have a surgery. And so why lose weight? There's so much more to health than just that. There's so much more that lies ahead of you than just looking at skin. The skin is there no matter what, but right now it's full of body fat that's taking a lot from you. And then in the latter, it's still there, but it's not body fat, and you're healthier, both mind and body.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bring the photo up real quick. And that's you could see the stretch marks in the beginning and that they're still there in the end. And again, this is another great photo to me of like, I've always had up and downs with weights, with my own weight. And it's always impressive to see even a 20-pound change, 30-pound change, but you're a different person. And it's not even a different person based on the body. It is a different person based on everything going on with it. The confidence of even how you hold the phone, the confidence of the face, the like everything about it changes. And it's like, I honestly don't even look at the body first. As impressive, like that's the most impressive part about the photo. But if you really, really look at the expression, everything going on, it is two different human beings starting from the soul out. And I think that's a really key thing that I know you coach about, you talk about, and when you start creating change in terms of other people. We're going to get to a couple other questions. So somebody had a quick question. I know that we'll get into your diet in a second because I saw recently that you switched because you were Captain Keto for a while.
5 years strong.
5 years strong. Quick one. I don't think you ever have. Somebody asked, has you ever tried Beachbody online programs for the home workouts, or do you recommend that? Would you suggest people?
I've talked about these before. I'm intimidated by the Beachbody at home workouts. So I've always found that when it comes to fitness, like sometimes less is more. And a lot of times this is what I will say. I think that Beachbody is probably some really great workouts, but what I have found is that it's like, a lot of them are for people who are already in really good shape, looking to be in better shape. A lot of the women that I work with are 250, 300, 350 plus pounds. And so that's a lot of pressure just on the body, just walking. And so a lot of these exercises, to do crazy jumps and, jump squats and all that would be that's very hard on my body now. And so that's why I haven't done those. And now keep in mind, I'm probably only looking at like the really hardcore videos, but I've seen some and I'm like, I'm not fit like that.
Well, I never liked the P90X. I probably would like it more now.
Yeah.
I would always gain weight on it because I'm high cardio, so I can run forever. I think you and I talked about this. You hate running. I love running. So I was always able to, I would do those workouts, build up an appetite, not really sweat that much. And I would do that for like 2 or 3 weeks and I was gaining weight. So then there was like the other one that was like, came out around the same time as P90X that really spun. Well, intensity, what is it called?
Insanity.
That one worked for me, and it also was absolutely miserable, and I wanted to stab myself. But that one got my heart rate up.
Like I'm not down. I'm not. Yeah. That's my personality. I'm just like I'm out.
Well, can you imagine like telling somebody that's like 300 pounds, being like, "All right, so we're going to lose a few pounds, and then you're going to do this workout called insanity." Like that's setting the bar a little bit too high.
Yeah, I'm like, look, if I can just stay consistent, and that right there is a huge thing. Is that rather than just doing workouts like every now and then that are crazy and you hurt yourself or you get so sore that you can't work out, like if you can just learn to become consistent at anything, you're going to watch your body change in massive ways.
I think consistency is key, again, because you're giving yourself a fair option and a fair roadmap. Whereas the other roadmap, when you do these things, like you can say, well, you could be like, eventually you're going to be in such great shape that you're going to be doing insanity. You're going to be able to do that. But if you're like, if you put that too early in the mindset, in your mind, it's like, I'm seeing a little bit of results, maybe some results, and oh God, I don't want to do that. It's a brain activity. Like, it's in the heart at points, and then it's also the brain is going to work against that because the brain has been working against you for 10 years when you haven't been taking care of yourself. So it's going to fall into that easy routine. All right, let's talk diet. What are your opinions on? I know you've been on keto forever, and then you're off keto. So, and that was honestly the biggest thing you did on your page. That was the kind of the free help you provided on top of I know you had specific recipes and stuff that you did for your members, but I remember you were always cooking in your videos. You were cooking, losing weight, and never saw you working out, which to me boggled my mind, but whatever.
I do work out sometimes. They're usually pretty I've actually been working out pretty well. I'm building out a 6-week challenge we're launching January 1. I'm really excited. This was a little more intense, but again, it's designed for someone who, like, all of the workouts are as low impact as they can be. Is kind of the like low impact on like joints, knees, feet, things like that. Okay, so I was keto for a long time. I think it was really good for me for a lot of reasons. I was straight up addicted to sugar. I would eat breakfast. I would be thinking about what I wanted for lunch. My relationship with food was really bad. And I feel like the ketogenic diet, because it takes out all the carbs and then you're fat protein dependent. At first you feel like you're in a straitjacket, and then you're like, hey, maybe I actually kind of like this. And it was pretty easy for me. And so I really liked it. So I actually lost all of my weight on a keto diet. Now, the thing that's always been different about me is, while I feel very passionately about keto in a lot of ways, specifically from a health perspective, I have never been someone that shames carbohydrates. I will shame white sugar all day long because I think that they just infuse it into stuff just to keep us coming back. But as far as, a sweet potato never hurt anybody. Now, understand, like, when we're trying to manipulate the diet to create a result, we have to change something. Something is going to get pulled out, whether it's just total calories or whether it's the fat or whether it's the carb. We've got to choose. And so I decided, I just felt like that was easiest for me, for how I like to eat. I like Mexican food a lot, and I just felt like fajitas with no tortillas is awesome. So it's fine.
Out of curiosity, did you do, when you did the keto diet, because I know there's a lot of different versions of keto.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the unhealthy version, and then there's the healthier version. The unhealthy is like, so you can make these fat bombs, which I know you can do that on occasion, but it's like, and you use this processed fake sugar stuff. It doesn't count towards your total keto. Which way did you do it, or did you balance back and forth?
So, and this is actually, okay, so I mean, keep in mind, I know my audience well, and I knew myself. I want to walk people through what I did. And so I did not go from being someone who ate donuts all the time and just loved to eat out to someone who was like extremely clean eater overnight. Like, nobody does. Nobody just wakes up tomorrow and has that kind of willpower. If you even had 5% of that willpower, you probably wouldn't be struggling with your weight. It's honest. And so what I did is I started what they call dirty, lazy keto. That's what they call it now. But I did it before it was cool. So, like, it didn't have these terms. And so basically I'm like, okay, like, I just want to keep my carbs as low as possible. So I'll eat bacon and I eat sour cream and cheese and all of the stuff. And I just ate whatever. Now, I never did a lot of the fake keto stuff because it just wasn't around then. Like, there was no Halo Top. There were no low carb tortillas. And honestly, I feel like those are a huge deterrent to people who are doing keto now. But I think that's still a better bad choice when we start. Okay. So if you're like, I eat tortillas all day, now we're going to eat low carb tortillas all day, this is a positive change in the right direction. But we can't stay there. We got to keep going. And so the goal is to start taking in more nutritious food. I remember I used to laugh at my friends because they would be like, I hate when I have to buy non-organic chicken. And I'm like, as if you can taste a difference. And now I'm like, refuse to buy non-organic chicken. It tastes
There is a huge taste difference. Eggs as well.
But I couldn't have, my processed taste buds could not have tasted the difference back then. So I got healthier and healthier and healthier. And so I have had a long-standing issue with my gallbladder. I also have something called gastroparesis, which is a result of my surgery, where my stomach doesn't always digest my foods well. The gallbladder issue has now turned into a pancreatic issue. It's nothing life-threatening. It's just every time I would eat, I would have stomach pain. And so it was suggested to me, you should try a low-fat diet. And I'm like, that's weird because I do a high-fat diet.
Switching it up.
And so I'm like, you know what? I feel like I have a really good control over my food. And so I decided to really just take a balanced approach. And so it's lower in fats, much higher in carbs than I'm used to, taking a really nice, like moderately high protein every day. I only started that a little under 2 weeks ago. I was really afraid that I was going to gain 50 pounds overnight. Didn't happen. I was also really afraid that it was going to like give me really bad sugar cravings or like, I haven't had carbs in years.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I never had anything off plan, but it was a rare day that I would eat off plan for about 5 years. So so that changed in the last couple of weeks. And so far it's been great. I've been very, very strict with what I let myself have. So like oatmeal, brown rice, sweet potatoes, like, we're not going to Dunkin' Donuts and getting what I want there. So I'm really, really, really sticking it out. And so far my stomach pain is completely gone, which is a blessing because I've been dealing with that for years. So I'm feeling good about that. I'm really interested to kind of, again, document what I'm doing and kind of just start sharing that and just go from there.
Yeah, I'm surprised you did a high-fat diet with gallbladder issues that long. Kelly just mentioned the same thing. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you did that for 5 years is impressive because that could hurt a little bit, and the fact that it worked is impressive too.
It got progressively worse over the years. So I was finally like, well, okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about your future goals, and then we'll have one final word of advice you can give people. What's the future look like for you?
Yeah, just really wanting to obviously continue to grow, both personally, professionally, expand the reach. One of the things that I wanted to do starting this year was more kind of speaking stuff, more what do you call them? Retreats. That's actually something we're actually working on for down the road, and obviously hoping that the climate of the world changes by then and that the situation is a little bit different. For now, is what it is. But, just really trying to do, I hate to say more of the same, but just every time I work with another client, like you learn new things and you learn more powerful things of how you could possibly help others. And so to continue to kind of spread that is the biggest goal for the future right now.
Got it. And I do want to ask you one other question. So, because you have changed diets, and I know you were very solid into the keto. I have, there's a couple people I follow, friends.
Yeah.
Used to be friends, could be friends, whatever. Welcome to 2020. One of the things that I noticed that there is a lot of nutritionists that are in this game that literally thinks there is only one way to do things, and their way is like, no, you're doing juice cleanses. That's terrible for you. You're wrong. That's not right. Check out what I do. And then there's people that are on keto that are like, keto's it. If you don't do keto, you're not doing the right diet. And then there's people that are like, keto's going to kill you. It's too much fat. What is your opinion across the board on different kinds of lifestyle changes, not just diets, but lifestyle changes?
I think that the best change that you can ever make is something that you can stick to and is also something that you believe in. I think that the worst thing you can ever do is to start on a lifestyle change and have a closed mentality that whatever you start with is what you stay stuck with. I think one of the best things that we can ever do is walk into something with open ears and open eyes, and we can say, hey, we're just going to take this one day at a time, and we can always adjust. It's like when you see people go do CrossFit and you're like, I'm losing my friend because they're going to be obsessed with CrossFit now. It's not the only way to work out. There are many different diets that work for many different people for many different reasons. The more I've talked openly about my diet change, the more feedback that I've gotten that either people who went from like a balanced diet and then keto is what broke their stall, or people who went from keto to this way of eating and that's what worked for them. And at the end of the day, first of all, we don't know everything that they're about. If that was true, we would not have any researchers. We would have no need for anything. We would have all the answers. We consistently learn and we consistently adapt. So having an open mind, but also understanding that every single person in your life will always act like a professional against whatever it is you decide to do. They are going to be the expert in their field, and you just have to learn to smile and nod and be like, okay, cool, but this is just what I'm trying. And if it doesn't work, then that's on me, and just kind of keep pushing forward, because everybody has something to say about anything you decide to do.
How many total, what is your goal number? You've got 12,000 now. Last time you and I talked, you had like 100. How many people, if you've got the vision board thing or whatever you do, how many people do you want to work with you directly? What's your lifetime goal?
I don't know. I mean, like, I would love to say something like 1 million. And I'm like, that either sounds way too big or way too small. Like when I first started my Instagram, I remember saying to someone like, can you imagine if I had 10,000 people one day? 10,000. Like that was like big deal to me. And it sounds small now. And so I don't know. At the end of the day, you know, I look up and I ask God, what are we doing? And as long as he still lets me wake up and do this every single day, I'm just going to keep pushing forward and just keep doing it. I would love to help 1 million people. I would love to see 1 million pounds lost, whatever it looks like. I just want to keep moving forward.
All right, last thing, words of advice for people out there. You've done a phenomenal job changing yourself, changing your heart, changing your mind, and changing your body. You've changed a lot of people that have become your clients. And there was a couple of comments on the side already, like people were talking about getting back into training again and saying that you inspired them, just like, all right, this is the pep talk. This is the thing I needed to hear. What are your final words for people if you could motivate whoever is still listening to this show? What would you tell them?
Whoever is still here, this is the best piece of advice. There's actually two. Number one, pick something that you can do this week. Don't pick everything that you need to do. Just pick one thing. Pick something small, because so much motivation is created when we just pick something and we nail it. We crush it. We master it, right? But when we build on that week after week after week, that is where we start to see change. You know how it is. The moment you get back into the gym, you just got to go. You just got to do it. But there's a saying that I love in my life, and it's with no pause. When you feel called to do something, you just got to do it with no pause, because when you pause, you allow fear and you allow other people's opinions and you allow your own thoughts to stop you from doing a thing. So pick something and do it with no pause.
I dig that. I think that works. I'll take that one. Do something with no pause.
Do it.
Do something this week. Get it done. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm going to pull you in back real quick. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody and then just hang out real quick. And I'm going to thank you backstage. So thank you again for finally making it out here. Christine, you are amazing. And it is very appreciative that you are here. Thanks a lot, Weight Loss Hero.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode of Changemakers, episode number 10. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please remember to hit like, share, etc. Also, this will be available on our podcast starting tomorrow on the Changemakers podcast. You can find that at #BeTheChange.com/podcast, which is available on all the different major podcast network, Apple, etc., whatever. You know where they are. So go ahead and check that out. If anybody, that sounds like there is a train coming up the hallway. That is, I don't know what that is, but it is loud. Excellent. So #BeTheChange.com/podcast. Again, if you'd like to support our programming, BeTheChange.com. on Patreon, or go to Patreon as well. We've got the link as well on our podcast page. And also, biggest help I could do, because if you can't tell, we have a lot less viewers lately because a little bit of a shadow ban. So make sure you check us out also on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to that page. That gives better notifications. YouTube.com/C/BeTheChange USA. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Changemakers. Next week, we do have the mother and son combo that was shared on one of our stories this week. The kid that decided to get 14,000 diapers for single parent moms and all these great things. So him and his mom are coming on. Very excited to have them as well. So stay tuned for Changemakers next week. Truth will set you free. And maybe for my Patreons, we'll start Motivational Monday pep talks this week. We'll see. In the meantime, stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching Changemakers here on Be The Change.